Are you still dragging your office files across USB drives? Or worse, shared folder that will only work when the moon is in the right place? Here's what nobody will tell you. Your simple small office setup is probably a large spaghetti mess. But you can fix it in an hour using free open source tools. And the good news is you don't have to be a tech wizard to stop this chaos. In this video, I will show you how to build a clean, secure, and fast small business network using completely free open source tools. And these are tools that some of the bigger companies out there use all the time but hardly ever talk about it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to walk you through how to set up shared drives that will just work, and I'll walk you through how to set up user access that is actually secure, and I will show you some tools that will monitor everything so you won't be blindsided at 3 a.m. by a failed hard drive in your system. So by the end of the video, you're going to learn how to map out your current network mess and spot the weak links. Set up a rock-solid Samba file server. Add access controls so only the right people see the right files. Automate backups and keep your data safe from ransomware. And monitor your whole system in real time with open source dashboards. We're talking no licenses, no shady software, and no IT degree needed. So are you ready? This video is sponsored by Morgan Tech. Is your small business or nonprofit struggling with tech headaches, security issues, or unreliable IT support? At Morgan Tech, we specialize in helping small businesses and nonprofits stay secure, productive, and online. And we do all this without breaking your budget. From day-to-day support to a full network overhaul, we are the down-to-earth IT partner you have been looking for. Got questions or want to talk next steps? Email me directly at bowmorgantech.com and let's get together to make your technology work for you. So here's the problem. Most small business networks start off like this. Someone plugs in a cheap router from Best Buy, then someone else will turn an old laptop into a server, and you have files getting dumped on random machines, and passwords are being written on post-it notes, and then when something breaks, you have to reboot and pray. And all that will work at first, but then the day will come when it doesn't work. Suddenly files are missing, employees can't access shared folders. The next thing you know, you are manually copying your QuickBook files to USB every Friday because it's just safer that way. And the problem is that this creates a ticking time bomb. And it's not because you're lazy, but because nobody has told you that there's a better way. That's where open source comes in. And here's how we're going to fix this mess, and we are going to keep it very simple. We're going to draw a map of our network and understand what devices are on our network and where the chaos lives. Then once we have that figured out, we're going to actually build a server. We're going to use Samba to create a real file server that is fast, stable, and secure. Then once we get our Samba server built up, we're going to start to control access to our network. We're going to make sure only the right people get into the right folders. Then once we have our network mapped out, we have a server built, and we have access control set up, we're going to start backing it up. We're going to set up a dead simple backup system that can save your butt. And then once we have all this set up, we're going to monitor it. We want to know what is working, and more importantly, what is not working. And we want to know all this before anybody on the team starts complaining about something not working. So let's get started. So first, let's map out our mess. One really cool tool we can use is Angry IP Scanner. This is a free tool and it's available across all platforms. If you're already comfortable in the terminal, you have the Nmap tool available to you. Regardless of which tool you want to use, there are 3 basic questions we need to ask. We need to know what devices are online, who is using what IP address, and if you have shared folders in your network, we need to know where these shared folders are at. And this will be your network blueprint. It doesn't have to be pretty. You can sketch it out on a piece of scrap paper. You can open up something like Draw.io and quickly map it out. It doesn't matter. Just having something that shows what each device is and what it does is half the battle. And that is all you need right now. And once you have all that mapped out, we're going to look for some common signs of trouble that may be going on. For example, you want to look for multiple people who are sharing the same login. If you're using shared folders, be skeptical of any folder that anyone can access. And depending on the size of your environment, you will probably run into old routers that are still plugged in that nobody knows exactly what they're there to do. And once you have found all these gremlins, you want to label them and document them to the best of your ability. Again, right now, a simple piece of paper and pencil will do the job. And once we have that finished, we can move to step 2. We're going to set up our Samba server. And this will be the heart of your new setup, especially if you're a small business or nonprofit. We're going to be using Samba, an open source implementation of the SMB network protocol, which simply means that Samba is a free tool that provides services between Linux and Windows machines alike. And speaking from experience, Samba is a pretty rock solid tool that has several use cases that even big name companies out there still use it. First step of setting up your Samba server is that you need a machine to put it on. Now, if you have an old laptop out there with a good hard drive, that can be a good starting point. If you're lucky enough to have a spare computer laying around, you can use that. And if needed, you can also use a cloud-based VPS. For this video walkthrough, I'm going to be using a Linode server. If you would like to try out Linode yourself, there will be a link in the video description for a free trial of Linode. Regardless of the type of machine you use, you will want to put Ubuntu on it. Why Ubuntu? Because it's lightweight, it is very user-friendly, and there's a ton of support out there for using Samba on Ubuntu. I'm going to be setting up this Linode Nano with Ubuntu 24, which would only be $5 a month. I'll put a link here to an old video where I actually go through step by step on how to set up Linode server from beginning to end, but that's beyond the scope of this current video. All right, it says that my server is now up, so I'm going to click on here, and I'm going to copy the SSH command, and then I'm going to go to a terminal. And now I'm going to paste it into the terminal to SSH into my new server. And the very first thing you want to do on any server you just created is you want to run sudo apt update. And then now we're going to do sudo apt install Samba. When you're met with the message, do you want to continue? The Y being uppercase means that that's the default option, so you can simply hit enter here to accept it. Once it's finished installing, you'll want to edit the config file for Samba. It is typically located under etc samba smbconf. You can use the text editor of your preference. And there's a lot of useful information in here that you can read through as you get more advanced in your setup for your office. But for your initial setup, what we're going to do is we're going to go down to the bottom and we're going to set up a shared directory. And then we're going to set up the local path to our shared directory, which server smb/shared. We want it browsable, which means people can find it. We do not want it to be read-only because we want people to use it. And we do not want people to get to it as a guest user. We want actual Samba users to be able to access the folder. So we're going to hit Control X and then Y to save it. Now we need to do sudo make directory to create the directory that we're sharing. Now if I do a quick ls-l, because I created it as the root user, the owner in the group is root. And so what we're going to do is we're going to change the owner in the group to nobody or no group. So now if we do ls-l of it, and then we also want to change the permissions to it. And so now only the owner and the group have access to the shared folder. Now we need to create a user. I'm going to create Alice. I'm going to give her a super secret password. And I'm going to leave everything else blank. I'm going to give Alice a Samba password so that she can access the Samba folder. And once the password's set up, we're going to want to restart Samba. So we'll do sudo system control restart smbd for Samba service. And just like that, we now have a real network share that can be mapped to any machine, Windows included, simply by using the IP address of the server, a slash, and then the name of the folder that's being shared. In this situation, we just named it shared to keep everything simple. Quickly review, we have mapped out our network, we have built an actual Samba server, and we have created a Samba user. So the next would be to set up access control to the Samba server. Setting up basic access control is the step that most people tend to miss. And they miss it because they think it's too complicated or they think it's not needed. And it typically comes back to haunt them later on. As their business grows, as there tends to be more people, more departments, and more files being shared between everybody. But there are some industry best practices that you need to be followed. First, you want to be sure to create a group for each department that you have. For example, if you have marketing, you want a marketing department. If you have accounting, you need an accounting department. For IT, you need an IT department. Then you want to be sure to add the right people to the right group. Not everybody needs access to every single group out there. For example, Jim over in sales does not need access to marketing department's group. And this is the step that most people tend to skip because they think it's too complicated. And a really good rule of thumb is to start with the least access first. So our user we created earlier, named as Alice, we'll say she works in the marketing department. We'll simply just add her to the marketing group. Now, if later on Alice ends up being a department head for marketing, she may need access to other groups. But right now, all we know is that she's in marketing. So back at our terminal, we're first going to create our group. We're going to create the group marketing first. And once that's created, we're going to add Alice to the marketing group. And to add a user to a group, you simply use sudo usermod -a and g, and then the group name, in this case marketing, and then the user you want to add, Alice. And this, as the lowercase a, uppercase G, simply means that this is not going to be their primary group. A user's primary group will always be their username. And then if you want to confirm they're in the group, you simply run ID and then the user's name. And we can see that Alice is in the marketing group. So now we need to set permissions on the folder so that only that group has access. That's going to be sudo chown :marketing and then the file path to the folder that's being shared. And I forgot to create the folder first, so I'm simply going to up arrow, do sudo make dir, and then I'll up arrow back to that chown command. And this time it's running successfully. I want to make sure that only marketing has permission to it. Now if I ls-l my Samba directory, I have the marketing folder that can only be found or used by people in the marketing group. Now as an aside, if you have interns and want read-only access for them to the marketing group, you would add them to another group labeled something like marketing_ro for read-only. And then you can use the force user variable in the Samba config file to enforce permissions. That will keep everything clean, tight, and way more secure than the premise of just giving everyone access. So great job. We have now mapped out our network, built a Samba server, set up access control on Samba folder files. So now we need to set up a backup plan. And the reason why we need a backup plan is because in the real world, hard drives are going to die, people are going to accidentally delete something, and ransomware is a real threat to all small business. And the simplest way to set up backups in a small business environment using Samba is to use rsync. Rsync is fast, it's very smart, and it will only copy over what has been changed. So back over at our server, we're going to make a backup script. So we're going to do sudo nano smb for Samba backup.sh for script. And you start off every bash script with shebang. And then on the next line, we're going to put in rsync -av -delete/server/smb, which is our Samba directory. And we're going to back up everything to a mount point or to whatever external source you have that you will be storing your backups on. This could be a second hard drive that you have attached via USB cord. This, ironically, could be a USB stick as long as it's your secondary copy of everything. And this could be a server up in the cloud. I'm going to hit Control-X to save it. Once you have your script written, we want to make sure it runs automatically in the background for you. And the way that Linux does this is by using cron jobs, which are really simple to set up. You're going to do cron tab -z for editing. And if it's the first time you've opened it, it's going to ask you which text editor you want to use. The default is 1 for Nano. And then we're going to go down here to the end. And I always put a comment saying what this cron job is for. And I'm going to call this nightly backup. And you'll put in the time you want to do the backup and then the path to the script you want it to run. If you're not sure how to do the timing on your cron job, there's a lot of free resources out there to help you with that. My favorite is Cron Helper, and you can use this tool to plan out when a cron job is going to run. For example, my cron job is going to run at 2 a.m. every day. Then once you have it set, you hit Control-X to save, Y, and then Enter to exit. And now if you do cron tab -L, it will list the cron jobs that are available, and you will see nightly backup that we just added to it. And now that we have everything set up, running, and backing up, what good is the setup if we don't know beforehand if something breaks? If instead we're being woken up at 2 a.m. by a coworker or even a customer that can't get to something? That is never a pleasant experience. Now, there are a whole lot of tools out there that can help you with this. The one that I'm going to cover today is Cockpit. Cockpit is a free tool that gives you a web dashboard from which you can monitor CPU and memory stats, disk usage, server status, logins, and even system logs. And it's really simple to install as well. We'll go back to our terminal. Once in our terminal, we'll simply run sudo apt install cockpit. Once it's finished installing, we'll do sudo systemctl enable now cockpit. You can confirm if it's started or not by doing the up arrow and then go into status and taking the now off. And this tells us it's running. We'll need to go to the IP addresses of our server, which I can't remember what mine is off the top of my head. So I'm going to go back to Linode, copy the IP address. I'll come back to this browser, paste it in, and we want to go to port 9090. We're going to be met with a security risk, and that's because we don't have SSL set up, but that is fine. Typically, it's not going to be needed, so we'll click Advanced, and we'll accept the risk and continue. And this is going to be your user login to your server. Now, the root user does not have access to log into this. You will have to have added a user to your server before you can access this portal. Now, we've already added Alice, so I'm going to use her login. And if you remember, I didn't give Alice administrative privilege to the server, so she's limited in what she can see. So if we go to accounts, you can see that the only users is Alice, who I'm signed in as, and as root. So we'll go back to our server and just real quickly create a user. I'm going to create a user Bo, real simple password, and I'm going to leave everything else blank. And I'm going to put Bo in the Seduers file. So now I'm going to come back here and I'm going to log out as Alice. I'm going to log in as Bo. And this shows that I'm in the Seduers account. So I'm going to click up here. It's going to ask for my password again. I'm going to authenticate. I'm going to tell Ubuntu to never save my password. So now if I go to the overview file, we can see the health of our server. We can see CPU usage, memory usage. You can tell that this is a Linode instance. You can tell how long it's been online, the host name, the domain, if it was domain joined. We can now view logs, and here we see where we got the error that Alice was not in the Seduers file. We can look at the current storage setup on our server here, and we can see some more in-depth logs going on here. We can see network logs. It's honestly all just really, really cool. If you want to go even deeper than this, there are some other open source tools out there that give you a whole lot more settings and allow you to really nitpick what you're watching and nitpick your alerts on the system as well. For example, you have some of the ones that we at Bo Morgan Tech like the most is Grafana, which you can use along with Prometheus and give you a real user-friendly chart of all the services you're monitoring. NetData is a great setup for real-time monitoring that uses pretty much a single command to get everything installed and running at one time. Now, they do have a very limited free tier. Most of their products you do have to pay for. And then LogWatch is a really powerful log parsing tool, which will give you a report of all activities on your server that you can then have emailed to you if you wanted to, or you can access and run the entire thing through the command line, your choice. All of these options are basically like having a security camera on your digital office, keeping watch over things for you when you're not there. Okay, but let's pause for a second, and let's all be honest. The real problem isn't just bad file shares or flaky Wi-Fi. It's that small businesses don't have time for this. You're juggling 50 different things, and IT is just one of those things that you're juggling on a daily basis. But here's the real deal. If you spend an hour now, this will save you several hours of troubleshooting and fixing later. No more digging through inboxes looking for the latest version, or sorting through a drawer full of USBs. No more late night calls because someone accidentally deleted a folder. This setup doesn't just fix your network, it will give your sanity back in the long run. And what will all this look like when it's up and working? Well, the end goal of everything we did today in today's video is your employees will be sharing to a shared folder without even thinking about it. You have automated backup of your files every night without you thinking about it. You have automated nightly backup of your files, and you can even change this to happen more frequently if you need to. With Copic, you can set up an email alert to be notified whenever your hard drive is at 85-90% full, which will give you plenty of time to increase the storage space before everything crashes. And when an employee leaves the company, you just have to remove that user's profile from the group, and then instantly they no longer have access to the files. So no more sorting through trying to figure out who has what files. No drama whatsoever. Everything will just work. So let's recap everything we did. We mapped out our current network and found the messy parts. We set up a Samba file server on a Linux machine. We locked down file access for group and permissions. We automated backups using rsync and cron jobs. And now we're monitoring the whole setup using Cockpit. And all this was using free open source tools. No licenses you have to keep up with. No nonsense whatsoever. Now, is this setup perfect? No, far from it. But let's be honest, it's 100 times better than the messy setup you had before. And it did not cost you a dime to set up.